Former football player, played defensive tackle at the University of Southern California. Got up to 293 pounds at my highest, was trying to get to 300, just couldn't quite get there. My body just pushed back. Always pretty big into fitness, and my interest in nutrition just kind of grew throughout the years. And then I had, at one point, just doing some research on, lifting and being lean, came across this thing called the ketogenic diet. And so after my football career ended, I thought, hey, let me go ahead and implement this. And I was able to drop 92 pounds going keto. And I was primarily eating, an animal meat-based type diet. And I felt great doing it. So I've just continued to do it ever since. It's worked really amazing for me. As far as social media, just during October 2020, one day I started a random Twitter account and just started posting videos of me lifting and pictures of my meals. I wasn't catering really to anyone specifically, just giving people insight as to what I do, and it just kind of took off.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you're at USC playing ball at tackle, you're 290. I mean, I got up to 305 was my heaviest, but I was probably 30 when I did that, so I was probably a little older, so it takes a little longer just to continue to gorge all the time. And it's fun doing that, but at the same time, it has a cost. But let me ask you, so if you drop 92 pounds, you got down to 200, I mean, you're clearly bigger than 200 pounds these days. I mean, looking at you, you got to be at least, 240, 250, somewhere in that neighborhood. Where are you at right now?
So for most of 2022, I've been in the 230 to 240 range. Yeah. So let's just call it, 235. But yeah, to your point there, when I went from 293 and went all the way to 201, I wasn't trying to get that lean. I was just trying to look good for a photo shoot I had coming up for a buddy trying to build his portfolio. Yeah, the weight just went all the way down there. And, when I saw 201 on the scale, I'm like, oh crap, I got to put some weight on. I'm way too thin. My clothes look baggy. My lifts were suffering. And so I put on a lot of the muscle mass I think that I lost. Well, I know that I lost during that extreme cut. And yeah, now I feel pretty good in, the 230 to 240 range.
Yeah. I mean, I did something similar a couple of years ago. I got all the way down to 204 and I'm 255, 258, right? Something like that. And that was clearly too light. I didn't like it. It was just I felt really weird at that being that scrawny. So, I guess there was I guess because you lost that big amount of weight, some media picked it up. I think there was an article in some magazine or newspaper or something where they said, hey, this crazy dude is eating a bunch of meat and he lost 92 pounds. How did that develop?
Yeah, so I put up a post. I had just randomly thought of on a Friday afternoon after I finished work. And I actually have that post on my shirt right here that I made. Of steak, eggs, and butter. And I just said, it was increase your cholesterol intake, increase your testosterone. And it got 18,500 likes or something. And then Twitter put a warning on it about, chest pain and having an unhealthy heart or something if you're going to eat like that. And then a couple days later, it's 5:45 in the morning and I'm warming up for my weightlifting session. And I see some journalist had contacted me from Newsweek, and he was very polite and respectful. I do want to make note of that. And he asked if he could use my content and do a write-up about me. And I granted him the permission there. Yeah, that really just blew up. I do think if you read beyond the headline of that article, he was actually pretty neutral there and said, this is how I eat. And I've lost weight, and it's concerned a lot of people because they don't think the way that I'm eating is healthy. And, that's entirely true. A lot of people think that it's unhealthy. And then he did a follow-up article where he brought in, an opposing view where he brought in a follow-up by me on the diet. And then he had a nutritionist who had an opposing view give her concerns. But yeah, that's what happened with Newsweek. And, I thought it was hilarious, to be honest, that I just put up a picture of my late lunch and it took off and made national media.
Yeah. Well, I've gone through that for a long time now, and it's kind of, they always have the sort of the mainstream dietitian comes in and tells you why you shouldn't want to do this sort of thing, which, fair. I mean, as long as they have a balanced view, I don't really care. I mean, it's any news is good exposure, I think, for this, because we're just seeing so many wins on this. Now, you keep putting up pictures of meal from your, I guess, I don't know, you have a view of the city up high. It looks like you got a nice apartment or condo or whatever you got up there.
Yeah.
I know New York is ridiculously expensive to live in. So, but I mean, you got these nice views of steak and eggs and butter and a few other things sometimes. What do you eat? What does your kind of diet look like?
So normally, if you're to look at a day where I'm lifting, I'm having about 3 pretty decent sized meals. So I already had my steak, eggs, and butter this morning. This afternoon, probably, a pint of kefir, maybe some more steak and eggs because that's what's in the fridge. And then, maybe I'll have some salmon for dinner with some avocado, maybe even some more eggs there. I really like eggs if you haven't noticed. Then you look at my rest days and usually have 2 meals. So it's intermittent fasting type where I'm not trying to like be OCD about, I need to eat within a 6 or 8 hour window. But all right, noon comes, 2 o'clock comes, 3 o'clock comes. Whenever I get pretty hungry, I'll have my meal and then I'll have, my dinner usually between 8 and 10 p.m. there. And yeah, it's heavily meat based. It's not, 100% animal product, even though it is, very meat and egg heavy. I'll have avocados every now and then, maybe a little broccoli, cauliflower. And then every couple of weeks, maybe I'll do some, large type carb up, go out with my wife for a sushi date or something.
Yeah, when you were at USC playing football, did they have a nutrition plan for the players? I mean, sometimes they have like this is what you need to be at a certain body weight because obviously certain positions, if you're playing a tackle, you got to be pretty sizable, right? So did they have like this is how you need to eat, or they didn't care? They said as long as you show up, whatever, we don't care.
So it's really independent on the player. If we had someone that was over or underweight for their position, they would have a little bit of help there. We brought in, our coach brought in a nutritionist who was very helpful to a lot of people, depending on their weight needs. So I was usually within the proper range. But when I, personally wanted to get up to 300 pounds, because the bigger I was, the harder it would be for offensive linemen to move me around. I work with the nutritionist a little bit and, opposite of what I'm doing now. She analyzed that I was eating such an incredible amount of meat. She's like, you're going to feel fuller longer and ultimately consume less calories eating this way. We need to get some more carbohydrates in your diet to help you put on weight. So that's what I did.
Yeah, that's interesting. You talk to guys like Stan Efferding who's been nutrition for some of these big strong men. These guys are 350, 400-pound dudes. And he's like, yeah, they just got to throw carbohydrates in there just so they can stimulate their appetite so much, because it's tough to be, it's literally a chore to get up to 300 pounds. If you're looking at, certainly the offensive linemen are the biggest guys on the field. These guys are the 340-pound giants that are offensive, guards and tackles and stuff like that. But still, you've got to just eat. And it's tough to, like on a carnivore diet, I can put down 6-7 pounds of meat a day, but it's tough. It's a challenge for me to do that. And you said you're about 235, 240. If you just said how much meat am I eating in a day, you like 3-4 pounds or something like that. Is that pretty realistic or?
Yeah, about 3-4 pounds is about right there.
Yeah, that's similar to me. We're very similar. I'm 6'5", like I said, 255 right now, and that's about 4 pounds is good for me right now to keep me kind of where I'm at. And so people always kind of wonder about that. They're like, why the hell can you eat that much? I'm like, well, you're a big, particularly if you're active.